ask her if she understood, because she's not the brightest.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And ultimately, she, just
She attacked.
decided, no, it's just that Marjorie is a little slow. So when you look at what people are offering, what their platform is, whether it's, aligned with making sure that the convicted Orange Jesus.
She's like a Facebook conspiracy theory come to life. That's how Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett described Marjorie Taylor Greene during her appearance on Jimmy Kimmel. And folks, it only gets better from there. From MTG getting confused about which Jimmy hosts which show to Trump's epic spelling meltdown afterward. Seriously, how many ways can you misspell comedian? This roast session has everything. And wait till you hear Kimmel's squirrel comparison that had the audience howling.
She did. She did.
Yeah, she started it.
She did.
Did you have that phrase? What was it again? Bleach blonde.
Bad built.
Bad built.
Butch body.
Butch body. It's so good. Was that floating around in your head before this?
No. No.
Holy cow, you just...
So like when you clip it up, it looked like it was really fast, but it wasn't. There was a lot of time that passed.
Oh. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
That is for sure. And so it's about making sure that we've got the House Democrats and that we end up with the Speaker Jeffries instead of MAGA Mike, right? But the reality is that the only way we get anything done is if there is a strong team in place. And I can tell you that I have the best team that money cannot buy. It's about making sure that we hold on to the Senate and that we have the White House. And so people should look at this election and be very selfish about it and say, you know what? I've got to do what's right for me.
Did Jimmy Kimmel just compare Marjorie Taylor Greene to a squirrel on an energy drink binge? You bet he did, and it might be the most accurate description of the Congresswoman's behavior we've seen yet. During a recent congressional hearing, MTG put on quite the show, and not in a good way. While her colleagues were trying to conduct serious business, Greene was practically bouncing off the walls. Kimmel couldn't help but notice her bizarre performance, telling his audience it looked like she was auditioning for a squirrel-themed energy drink commercial. What makes this particularly funny is the stark contrast between the gravity of a congressional oversight committee and Greene flailing around like she's trying to flag down a rescue helicopter. The serious nature of these hearings usually calls for, well, seriousness. But MTG clearly missed that memo. Kimmel didn't stop at the squirrel comparison. His physical comedy took center stage when he imitated Greene trying to swat away invisible mosquitoes while simultaneously doing the Macarena.
And what do you tell people? Like, what's your message to people?
It's not about bleach blondes.
Right.
No. I really have.
For sure, because he's running against one.
You better.
I guess the president, his campaign, people saw this and they said, we need to send you out on the road to spread the good word, yes?
Yes.
Yes, and so you've been doing that?
I have. I've been trying to make sure that people understand that this election should be about them. We spend so much time focusing on the name.
The audience roared as Kimmel's exaggerated movements perfectly captured MTG's erratic behavior. He even questioned her legitimacy as a representative, joking, "I'm starting to think MTG isn't actually a member of Congress. Maybe she's just a really committed performance artist who snuck in one day." This isn't the first time Greene's antics have provided material for late-night comedians. Her history of disruptive behavior in Congress has become a goldmine for hosts like Kimmel, who regularly feature her in their monologues. From yelling during the State of the Union to pushing conspiracy theories in official hearings, MTG has practically written their jokes for them. The comedian wrapped up his MTG segment with perhaps his most absurd, yet somehow fitting description, yet suggesting she is actually 3 raccoons in a trench coat who've been raiding the congressional cafeteria coffee supply. It's ridiculous, yes, but watching clips of her behavior, you might find yourself wondering if Kimmel's theory deserves investigation.
Is she the dumbest person in the House of Representatives?
I'd be hard-pressed to find someone dumber. Instantaneous.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny. Have you seen her, Marjorie, since the incident?
Yeah.
You have?
Finally.
And is it civil or no?
We don't talk.
You don't talk, yeah.
No.
I get the sense that it's not just Democrats that don't like her.
Oh, no. Like, her people don't like her either.
Her people don't like her either.
Just when we thought Kimmel's raccoon theory couldn't be topped, along came Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett with a legal brief of burns that would make Supreme Court justices cover their ears. Crockett, a freshman representative and civil rights attorney, described Marjorie Taylor Greene as a Facebook conspiracy theory come to life. A line that had the audience howling with recognition because, well, sometimes the simplest description hits hardest. When Crockett joined Kimmel on set, you could almost see the host mentally preparing for what was about to happen. He didn't have to wait long. The Congresswoman immediately cranked up the heat with her insider perspective, delivering what might be the most brutal political roast since Lincoln grew that beard to hide his weak chin. Crockett's description of MTG's bleach blonde, bad-built, butch body nearly caused Kimmel to perform an unplanned water fountain impression right there on camera. But what made Crockett's takedown special wasn't just the personal jabs, it was how she used her legal background to methodically dismantle Greene's conspiracy theories one by one. Like a prosecutor laying out evidence to a jury of viewers, she questioned if MTG's GPS was permanently set to Crazy Town, suggesting the Congresswoman was operating in an alternate reality where facts are optional and logic is banned. The audience absolutely lost it when Crockett tackled Greene's infamous Jewish space laser theory, asking if MTG thought NASA was being run by Dr. Evil. This wasn't just funny because of the Austin Powers reference, it was hilarious because it highlighted just how cartoonish Greene's worldview actually is. Perhaps the most devastating observation came when Crockett revealed that her people don't like her either. That single line exposed what many suspected, that even among Republicans, Greene is viewed as the awkward relative everyone avoids at political family gatherings. So how did MTG respond to this comedy double team in spectacularly confused fashion? In her attempt to clap back, Greene somehow managed to confuse Jimmy Kimmel with Jimmy Fallon, calling out the wrong late-night host entirely. The studio audience's collective groan was practically audible across America, like watching someone confidently spell their own name wrong on a job application. But the perfect cherry on top of this comedy sundae arrived when Trump himself decided to weigh in. The former president, in an apparent rage-fueled typing session, managed to misspell the word comedian 3 different ways in a single social media post. Yes, you read that right. 3 different misspellings, 1 post. And here's the kicker. While butchering basic spelling, Trump declared himself the funniest president ever. When politicians can't take a joke, they often reveal more about themselves than any policy critique ever could. Whether it's MTG mixing up late-night hosts or Trump wrestling with spell check, their fragile egos crack under the slightest comedic pressure. The real punchline isn't their behavior, it's their thin-skinned reactions that transform mild roasts into full-blown comedy gold. Perhaps they should spend less time rage posting and more time consulting a dictionary.